Hello and welcome to Lord Fenton Gaming Plays Baldur's Gate 3. I'm your host, Lord Fenton. In this Baldur's Gate 3 video guide, we are doing the perfect party member setup. As always, like, comment, and subscribe to my channel for more Baldur's Gate 3 videos like this. Do not forget to hit the notification bell so be update and much more. I'm going to go over each of the party members. Now, here's the deal. For Minthara, I'm using my Paladin as if you would spec into, you guessed it, the Oath of Vengeance. Another thing I'm going to definitely go ahead and point out as well, that some of the party members will have two different builds. Some will be, of course, the same class setup, 1 through 12 on that, just a different type of arch tech. And the other one is, of course, multi-class. Yeah, you're going to be seeing some multi-classing builds. I'll label those as well. I will note some gear, but I'll refer to my other build videos for the gear because that's in greater detail. There'll be combat demonstrations while I'm showing up the leveling process too. Other than that, that's about it. And use my timestamps on your favorite party member if you want to build them up this way. So let's go ahead and start out with, first of all, Lae'zel, our favorite Githyanki warrior. I should say fighter, more like it. Now, please note I am using wizards for respecting my characters when they need to be to get the proper abilities, feats, and more. So with Lae'zel, she is very best at, you guessed it, being a two-handed weapon user. In other words, great weapon master. I should say more like it. She does a lot of damage with it. Another thing is definitely with Lae'zel is she can kill many foes greatly. And of course, if you decide to use superior dice, she owns it big time. So we're going to start talking about character creation. So here's the following stats, I should say ability scores, and a little bit more you should definitely go for. So here's Lae'zel's ability score she's definitely respec into. Strength at 16. Now here's the deal. We're going to get that up big time when we level up, I should say when we get to that point. So it'll be capped at 20. Well, I'll list that again, but still start at strength 16. Dexterity 14, we'll leave it at that. That is absolutely perfect for this build. Another thing is Constitution 16, more hit points, since she'll be on the battlefield going right into danger and more. Now, Intelligence at 8, Wisdom 10, and Charisma 10. So Intelligence is your weak point. Now, as for her background, she's a soldier, so you get Athletics, Intimidation. That is perfect. Go for Acrobatics, and the last but not least is Survival. So let's go ahead and do the leveling up process. Let's go ahead and definitely level up, you guessed it, Lae'zel. Yeah, we're going to go through the process of level 2 to 12. So here we go on this. Now, when you did create your character, I'm going to go ahead and list this now. Pick the Great Weapon Fighting Style. Very powerful. You roll a 1 or 2, you get to roll the dice again. It's like a do-over. Now, here's the deal. On level 2, you automatically get Action Search. This does is when you run out of, I should say, attacks, or I say actions, pop this baby, you get to do against, like attacking again and again and again. Now, another thing is we're talking about is now level 3. Pick the Battlemaster subclass. Go for the following superior dice moves. Precision attack, this does is adds your superior dice numbers to your attack roll. So, for example, you do 2d6 with a, I say, great sword, and then you add +4 to it for damage. So you roll, for example, a perfect 12, +4 to that. Now, Rip Taurus, now when your foes misses, you get to do an extra attack with your weapon. Very nice. Sweeping attack, you do 1 to 8 damage against some foes that are surround you. Very useful early on, especially against those goblins. Now, at level 4, pick the Great Weapon Master feat. You're asking, why is that, Fenton? So here's the deal. When you either get a critical hit or you kill a foe, you get a free bonus action attack, which gets you to do some more damage. Now, of course, on the Great Weapon Master feat, also, you get -5 on your attack rolls. However, there's ways to boost that up. And, of course, +10 damage on the upside. Now, at level 5, every, certain melee classes gain extra attack, free. This is a free feat. I'm listing it because it's so important. Level 6, pick the Alert feat. You're asking, why do I have to pick the Alert feat? 2 reasons. +5 on initiative when you start out in combat. That means more likely it's your turn when you start out than your foes. And second, you cannot be surprised. So if you get jumped, Lae'zel won't be surprised at all. Instead, she goes, yeah, I knew they were coming, and starts to attack. And while everybody is going, oh my goodness, I've been surprised. Really useful, everyone. So what we're going to go ahead and do now is go to level 7 through 12. Let's go to level 7. At level 7, you do want to do for superior dice rolls. Number 1, menacing attack. They have ability disadvantages and attack roll disadvantages. Also, they'll be frightened. In other words, if they run, you can frighten them well. Now, trip attack here, it does weapon damage, and then it has a chance to make them prone for 1 round. You want to stop a run or 2, that's another one as well. Now, at level 8, you want to pick ability improvement feat, +2 strength. We're going to be focusing on strength. Lae'zel's going to be up to 20 strength. That's before the mirror loss or anything else we decide to do. Now, level 9, unfortunately, nothing at all. I'm sorry, it happens. Now, level 10 is the disarming attack. Now, this does is weapon damage and plus, of course, disarms your foe's weapons if they can. Very useful if you could pull it off. Now, the other superior dice is a gloating attack. This is like a taunt, so if a foe attacks someone else, they get disadvantages on their, attack rolls and more. So they're forced to attacking you. Now, at level 11, yeah, let me go ahead and explain about that. At level 11, you get improved extra attack feat free. Fighters only get that. So yeah, in other words, they get extra attack instead of 2 like everybody else who's a melee class. You get 3. Now at, level, you guessed it, 12. Ability improvement feat, pick that again and put strength up to +2. That should be at the cap for that. That's about it for leveling up. So I'm going to go give some final advice before moving on to the alternative, build for Lae'zel. I'm going to go ahead and give some final advice for Lae'zel, for Battlemaster. So here are things you want to look out for her. Now, mirror loss, you want to go for +2 strength to get real lucky. So that will give you 22 strength in total. Now, if you're playing her as a main or you have a main character that's not, frontline melee fighter, yeah, drink the +2 strength potion from a certain person at the Moonrise Tower. Yeah, she's the alchemy vendor as well. Now, use my Battlemaster build for gear, potions, and tadpoles. Now, for gear advice, for example, you definitely want very good two-handed weapons. The Barbarian Greatsword and the Sword of Chaos is great for her. Now, if you do the Sword of Chaos, go for Ring of Regeneration. So this way she heals a lot of hit points per round, which is nice. And yeah, elixirs, yeah, drink the strength ones. That's good for her. Now, as for one more advice I'm going to give about Lae'zel, she is a frontline fighter. Always goes in first. Always does the damage. She can either damage bosses as well, or tough foes. She can really annihilate foes apart. And that's about it, for this part of the build video. So let's go ahead and talk about the alternative for Lae'zel. Here's my backup for Lae'zel. Lae'zel makes a very powerful, you guessed it, tank too. For those of you who has too many two-handed weapon use, like for example Karlach, your main character, or anybody else, well, guess what? Lae'zel could definitely level the playing field as a tank. Now, with spells, for example, like Instance Mirror Image, each image gives you 3 AC with a total of 9 AC, which is really good as well. So, if you're looking for a tank instead of a 2-weapon user, yeah, this is the path you want to go. Don't worry, if you're playing on Explorer difficulty, yeah, you'll be able to do this setup. So, let's talk about the ability scores and more on character creation. When you do pick the fighting styles for a fighter, go ahead and do with the protection fighting style. What this does is within 1 meter, enemies have disadvantage against you. Great against tougher foes. So here's the starting stats you should build up Lae'zel. This is a little bit different. So here we go. 16 strength, when we get that to 20, when we level up. Dexterity 14, that's fine. Constitution 16 more hit points. Intelligence to 10 this time because we're casting some arcane magic. Wisdom to 10, that's a point. And Charisma 8. So you're going to need someone to talk for Lae'zel. Skills as follows. She's a soldier, so you already know she gets athletics and intimidation. Go for acrobatics and survival if you can. That's very important. And that's about it for Lae'zel's, character creation and much, much more. I'm going to go ahead and leave this for a few seconds before starting up the leveling up process. So let's go ahead and level up Lae'zel as a tank with the Eldritch Knight path. Now at level 2, you action surge. What happens is when you do, for instance, run out of that circle during turn. You get to pop that. You get to do an extra attack or two or cast one spell at least. Very useful. Short rest does apply after. Level 3, pick the Eldritch Knight subclass. Very important for this part for Lae'zel's build number 2. Now, pick these following spells. I'm just listing them from my build video, the Eldritch Knight version. Blade Ward, this gives you 50% bonus damage against blunt, piercing, and slashing, so you take 50% less than that. Very good level 0 spell. Cast it before going to combat. Pick the Shield level 1 spell. This is a reactionary spell. And of course, it gives you like a nice save throw boost and such like that. Also blocks magic missiles. Now, level 4, this is different than the other Lae'zel build. Shield Master Feat. Now, you gain yourself +2 dexterity bonus saving throws while wearing a shield. We're going to be doing that a lot if you pick Lae'zel on this path. If a spell forces you to make a dex saving throw, you can use your reaction to shield yourself and diminish the effects. Now, if you pass the saving throw, you take no damage. You fail, you take half. That's kind of like the Uncanny Dodge feat there, folks. Level 5, you do gain an extra, you guessed it, attack, free. Yeah, that's right. Instead of 1 attack per round, you get 2. Fighters excel at that. Level 6, pick the Tough feat. You could pick Alert, that's a good one, but you want more hit points. So that's why by the time you're going up to certain foes, so casting spells, you choose such, you have those extra hit points so you could close in and tank them to death. So let's talk about level 7 to, you guessed it, Area 1, 12. I'll leave this here for a few more seconds. For level 7, go with my Eldritch Knight build for spells. I'll just leave blank for now for those who don't want to do that. Now, level 8, there's 2 things that's important. Number 1, pick the Ability Improvement feat. Gives yourself 2+ strength. This will give you 18 strength. And also level 2, I decided to pick one of the most important spells for this Eldritch Knight build for Lae'zel is Mirror Image. You get 3 images. Each of those images are 3 AC, so that's 3 times 3 is 9. So that's 9 free AC. You have, for example, 21 AC. That's 30 AC off the bat. I'm just give you just a ballpark figure. Other stuff applied too to increase that AC. Now at level 9, you get Indomitable. So if you fail a saving throw, you roll again. That's free. All fighters get that. Now level 10, just like level 7, pick whatever spells I did pick. If you want to go that path, if not, just pick whatever one you pick. Now level 11. You get Improve Extra Attack feat free. Instead of 2 attacks per round, you get 3. Very useful for a tank. Now, level 12, last but not least, is the +2 strength on Ability Improvement feat. That'll get you up to 20. Now, that's about it for, I should say, leveling up Lae'zel as a tank. So let's go ahead and talk about the next part, which is some advice for a Lae'zel for, like, for example, Mirror Loss and more. I'm going to leave this for a few more seconds on here. So let's go ahead and talk about things to look out for Eldritch Knight tank Lae'zel. This is a tank aspect. Mirror Loss, go for the +2 strength. So select that. If you do that, you get 22 strength in total. Now, if you're playing Lae'zel as a main character, get the +2 strength potion. That's from a certain NPC at the Moonrise Towers if you're playing it cool. She sells some nice rings. Offer up Astarion's buying her, and then you get the +2 strength. Check out my build video on that. Use my Eldritch Knight tank build for gear, potions, and tadpoles of ice. It's too long to list. That's the long version. Lae'zel's a frontline fighter, as always, but this time she always goes in first. Now, here's something different than my Battle Master one. Look out for any items that boosts up armor class. There's shoes that gives you 1 AC if you want to really get more AC. There's a flail at the Githyanki Crash. You buy it, that's 1 AC more. Some people boost up AC like crazy, so they become unhittable in melee combat. And that's about it for Lae'zel. The next character we're going to go ahead and talk about is Karlach. Yeah, she's up next. Now, for Karlach, I'm doing something different. I decided to level up Karlach with 8 levels of Barbarian Berserker and 4 levels of the Fire Battle Master. And let me tell you, she does a lot of DPS. She went from a good DPS to, oh my god, she's going to murder you DPS. Yeah, she gets some extra tools in the toolkit. She can wreck foes like crazy. She can frenzy. And if you equip her like with my, pure Berserker gear setup, just like the build, you get yourself some free AC extra. Yeah, she's a powerhouse with this multi-classing build. So before we do talk about that, everyone, let's talk about what skills and what ability scores you want for a Karlach. So here we go. Let's go over Karlach the Barbarian Berserker / Fighter Battlemaster stats and much, much more. So for stats, yeah, go for 16 Strength, Dexterity 14, Constitution 16, Intelligence 8, Wisdom 10, and Charisma 10. She's an Outlander, that's her background, so she gets the following: Athletics and Survival. Very good for this build, by the way. Go for Intimidation and Perception. I went for Intimidation for a little bit of talking skills, even though our Charisma is 10, if we decide to use her to talk. And Perception is good. That's also pretty decent for a main character if you're going with her for that origin story part. That's about it for, I say, Karlach's setup when you do character creation. Now let's go ahead and talk about Karlach leveling up. Now this will be different than the other ones I did so far. It's time to go ahead and level up Karlach with this multi-class build setup. Now, in the future, I'll have a great detailed one, so definitely use my pure Barbarian Berserker for gear advice and much, much more. I'll remind everybody of that again, so let's go ahead and start this up. Now, for Karlach, we're going to start out as a Barbarian, so 1 through 8 will be the Barbarian class, so let's start with 2 through 6. Now, as Barbarian, you automatically get Reckless Attack. You get attack advantages against targets. Targets against you will get attack advantage as well. So it's like an exchange off. You get the advantage against them, they get the advantage against you. That's all for free. Now, level 3, Barbarian still. Subclass you want is the Berserker. This is a very powerful subclass. You do a lot of damage with it. And you get Frenzy, which is a lot more damage. You're like a powerhouse. Now, level 4 for Barbarian, we're going to do his Great Weapon Master Feat. Now, when you kill a target or get a critical hit, you get a free bonus action as an attack, as long as you don't use up your bonus action. Another thing about that is you get -5 on attack rolls. That could be negated with a certain ring or so, and +10 on the damage. You're going to see the results with this setup, I will definitely say, if you try it out. Now, level 5, just like the Fire class, the Paladin class, and such, you get an extra attack feat. Instead of 1 attack per round, you get 2. Really useful for this build. Now, at level 6 for Barbarian, you get Mindless Rage, so you cannot be basically snap out of rage, so that's good. And yeah, in fact, that calm spell is useless against you. So let's go on with the leveling process on, you guessed it, 7 to 12. Now it's time to go ahead and finish off Karlach leveling up. So for Barbarian level 7, that's just your standard gains you get. Nothing DPS important. Anything you get is automatic, like normal Barbarian class. That's pure if you go that path. Barbarian level up. This last time you're going to be in the Barbarian class. Pick the feat ability improvement. Pick +2 strength. When we get that to 20, she'll be at 18. Unless you did something that boosts it more. Now from this point on, switch to the Fire class after level 8. Now level 9, pick the Fire class. That's in the upper right hand tab. When you level up, select Fighter. You get the Great Weapon Fighting Style. You want that. So what happens if you roll 1 or 2? You get to roll again with a two-handed weapon. Now, level 10, you want to pick the Fire tab. You get Action Surge. So use up all your action. Pop this baby. You get some more action. Attack again. In other words, more attacks. Short rests do apply. Now, a level 11 for Fire, pick Battlemaster subclass. Here's the following maneuvers. Rip Torse. So if you, for instance, if your foe misses you, you get a free attack against them. Precision attack, so as your dice rolls, like for example 1d12 dice, you add +3 to your rolls if it's that points for the superior dice. And menacing attack, your target have disadvantage against you, and of course you freeze them in their place. It's like a fear spell, drop and stop there. And last but not least, for level 12 is the Fighter still. Pick the ability improvement feat, so you get +2 strength. You'll be up at 20 strength, and that's about it for Karlach leveling up 1 through 12. So let's move on to the next topic. Now, I normally go on to what you need to look out for, but I'm going to go ahead and say this now. Karlach with this build could basically shred up any foes big time. As for bosses, they should be afraid of her. Always be afraid of her. Anyways, I'm just going to demonstrate real quick on how powerful she is in combat. So let me go ahead and jump her over here. I'll lose a bonus action, but oh well, I can always do action surge. So let's chop this up. My Paladin did a little damage. I'm going to do a lot more. Few hits, and now I'll do it. Now let's go ahead and I'm going to talk about what she should be looking out for. Now, first of all, you want to go for the Mirror Loss. That's very important. It gives you +2 strength. Now, if you're playing Karlach as a main character, that is total 24 strength thanks to the +2 strength potion you get in Act 2 by having Astarion buying a certain NPC. Now, use my Barbarian Berserker build for gear, potion, tadpole advice. Yeah, I have a link in there for all my builds there. At the start of this video, it should be there somewhere on top for description. Now, Karlach's a frontline fighter. Make sure she try to go up front. Bloodlust elixirs are nice for Karlach. They do some serious damage. Other than that, with this build setup, you'll go really far and you do some nice damage against your foes. And that's about it for this build. Now I'm going to just go ahead and show you one last thing with Karlach destroying this fool. Let's go ahead and finish him off and do a reckless attack. And there you go. She didn't take much damage and she's a total beast. Now let's move on to the alternative build I have for Karlach for those of you who cannot use multi-classing features or you want to go pure for the Barbarian class. Now normally I do not, of course, do this type of deal with this perfect party setup or perfect companion build videos like this. However, the thing is the first build setup for Karlach was multi-class, so if you're playing, for example, the lowest difficulty, you cannot multi-class at this time. That's the bad part. So that's the reason why I definitely going to head this as a backup for those of you who are at that difficulty or wants to go pure class. So I'm going to go ahead and definitely go over the starting out your character creation with this build setup for Karlach. So when you respec Karlach, here's the following ability scores you want. Strength 16, we're going to get that to 20 naturally when we level up. Dexterity 14, Constitution 16. So this way our modifiers will be +3 AC if we don't wear any armor. We'll do that with Karlach. And Intelligence 8, that's your weak point. Wisdom and Charisma at 10 apiece. Now remember, she's an Outlander, so she gets Athletics and Survival, just like the other build setup. You want to go for Intimidation and Perception. And then that's about it for the character creation process. Let's talk about the leveling up. Karlach is a very powerful character. If you, of course, build her right, she'll wreck everything in sight. That's a pure barbarian as well. So let's go ahead and start leveling up our character. But first, show you prowess of her attacks. Okay, we missed. That's all right. So let's try again. And boom, we'll just get another kill streak anyways. Let's do this if we can. And yeah, that's about it. So let's start leveling her up. So let's start with level 2. She gains reckless attack. That means she has advantages against foes when she attacks them. Also, that foe or so, they have advantages against her as well. It's a change off, but it's powerful. Level 3, pick the subclass Berserker. Very important to know this. Now, level 4, you want the Great Weapon Master feat. You get a critical hit or a kill. You get a bonus action to attack as long as you don't use up your bonus action. Now, downside is you get -5 on attack rolls, but you get +10 on the damage. Really nice. There's items that will negate the -5. Level 5, I should say, extra attack feat. You get 1 extra attack. Really nice for this build. Now, for level 6, you get, for Barbarian class still, it's Mindless Rage. So in other words, you cannot be charmed or frightened while you're in rage form, and the common motion spell will not knock you out of rage. Very powerful. So this way you continue DPSing. Now for level 7, you get more a defensive ability or so. We'll ignore that. Level 8, ability improvement feat. You want to pick +2 strength. We're going to get ourselves 20 strength this way. Now level 9, you get brutal critical. When you get a critical hit, you get to roll extra dice to do some more damage. If I remember right, Savage Attacker, if you have a half orc, yeah, will also get another extra attack too. You do more damage that way. Now level 10 and 11, they're more of defensive feats or crowd control. Yeah, level 11, some kind of fear spell. So we'll skip those two. Now level 12, You want the ability improvement feat. This will give you +2 strength, so you have a total of 20 strength. That's about it for leveling up Karlach. So if you want to go into greater detail, consult my pure barbarian build. Yeah, it'll tell you all the details on the leveling up. So let's get to the last part of the alternative build setup for Karlach. At this time, Karlach will be very powerful, so I'm going to go ahead and get some advice about gear, equipment, and such. Yeah, you're going to have to consult many of it from my pure barbarian build. So here we go on this. Now, Mirror Loss, go for +2 strength. This will give you 22 strength. Now, if you're playing her as a main character, go for the +2 strength potion. You gotta make sure Astarion's with you. Have him bite the NPC who also sell potions there and some nice rings. Then drink the +2 strength potion at the Moonrise Towers in Act 2. Use my Barbarian Berserker build for gear, potions, and tadpole advice. Karlach's a frontline fighter. That means you always want her at the front lines, attacking and more. Now, another thing is, yeah, bloodlust potions. I mean, elixirs. They're great for Karlach as well with this build setup. That's about it for, I should say, Karlach. So let's talk about Gale. I decided to do with Gale, our wizard, we set him up as an evocation wizard. Yeah, a pure wizard. So this way he has all access to spell slots instead of partial, which is great. Yeah, with the right gear and of course ability scores and more, Gale could do some serious damage. For instance, let's say goodbye to Orin the Red. Anyways, let's talk about what ability scores and more you could do when you level up your character. Like for this instance, Gale. Now, one note is I repeat, I will not go over all the spells. I'll only go over the key point ones. That are mainly evocation or very useful later on in the game. And besides, you can switch them in and out at any time.
Tale for the ages.
So let's talk about Gale, the wizard, evocation, school, stats, and more setup. Now you want strength at 8, that's your weakness. Dexterity 16, a little bit more armor class and such. Constitution 14, a bit more hit points. Intelligence is 16, that's your bread and butter. We're going to get that to 20. Mirror Loss makes it 22. Wisdom 10 and Charisma 10. Now skill, since he's a sage, that's his background. He gets Arcana and History. Those are intelligent skills. Now, since he's a human, we'll go for 3. First of all, pick Investigation and Religion as your class skills. And for Gale, since he's a human, like I mentioned before, go for Nature. Those are all intelligence. You'll ace every single intelligence as Gale. Now, also, I'm going to post this now. Be on the lookout for the Curriculum of Strategy, Artistry of War book in Act 3. That spell I just showed you, that's the spell you want. It's the evocation spell, and it's OP. So let's go ahead and talk about leveling up Gale. Now it's time to go ahead and level up Gale. I purposely left out some spells. If you want to go in great detail on that, check out my build video that has evocation wizards. Anyways, level 2, pick the school evocation. That's for that really nice DPS and much more. Plus it'll be cheaper to prescribe evocation spells. Now level 3, mirror image. That, like I said before, with the other characters, you get is 3 images. Each image is 3 AC, total of 9. And when you get attacked, 1 image goes away. Also, Scorching Ray 2. That's a level 2 spell. 3 rays, very powerful and nice. Now, level 4, you want Misty Step so you can teleport around. Very helpful. And Knock, so this way you open up doors that's not magical or so. And as for feats, you want the spell Sniper feat. Now this does drop your critical rolls by 1. So if you need to roll a critical hit on a spell, instead of 20, it has to be 19 to 20 now. Now this stacks with other items as well. Level 5, this is where the game gets broken for wizards, especially evocation. Fireball, it's a must. And believe me, I held off doing the Goblin Camp on purpose until I got to level 5. And let me tell you, those fireball spells clear that Goblin Camp very nicely. Also, you get is the haste spell too. Very popular party favor. Now, level 6 counterspell is good. It's a reaction type of spell, so someone will try to cast magic on you, you counter it. So let's finish up leveling up Gale. Now, for level 7, pick the Ice Storm spell. Now, my Evocation Wizard build video has other details, other spells you want to pick. Level 8, Blight spell. That's good. And then there's another one as well. Now, ability improvement. You want +2 intelligence. You're going to do +2 in knit for, you guessed it, 8 to 20. This will give you 20 in knit. Very good for your spell casting. Level 9, Conjure Elemental. Very nice summon. Now, level 10, hold monsters. You hold them into place. If they're held into place, monsters, your party members could do critical hits, like, for example, Lae'zel and Karlach. Just saying. Level 11, you want Chain Lightning. It's a spell that goes on one foe and then many. I call it Room Clear. Also, Globe of Invulnerability. You're invulnerable to all damage as long as you're inside the globe. There's a counter or 2 or maybe 3 you want to use that in late game. Level 12 is Sunbeam. That's good. Honorable mention is Disintegration. Last but not least, the ability improvement is +2 intelligence. That's about it from leveling up 2 to 12. Let's move on to the last part of this section for Gale. With Gale, with this setup, the battle ends before it even starts. If you're really tactical, you could really get away with a lot of things. So I'm on purpose sneaking around with Gale just to show you how powerful Fireball is early on. And let's go ahead and blast these fools, at least 3 of them. Let's do some damage after that. I'm going to give some advice. So let me make sure we blast them. And look at that, man. They're surprised. And, of course, we got some experience points from all that. So I'm going to go ahead and start talking about this next part. Let's go over the things to look out for Gale. As for the Mirror Loss in Act 3, go for +2 intelligence. This will give you a total 22 intelligence. Now, I did not put the +2 strength because that's more like for melee fighters, like, for instance, Karlach or Lae'zel. Now, I'll use my Evocation Wizard build. That's in the playlist just for gear, potion, tap, or advice if you want to go further. Gale is arcane spellcaster. That means keep him away from the front lines. He does great far from the melee action. Keep those long rest potions handy, by the way, for tough battles ahead. They're like a long rest and all your spell slots return. That's about it for Gale. Let's go ahead and talk about Wyll next. Our next party member we're going to talk about is Wyll. Wyll's a Warlock, and his subclass we're going to go with still is the Fiend. He could be your opener or your definite closer, depending on which you're going for. So let's go ahead and talk about the level 0 spells first. Eldritch Blast, you're going to be using that quite a bit. Very powerful. Blade Ward, 50% reduction for 2 rounds and blunt piercing and slashing damage. Now, level 1 spells Hex, that's like a debuff spell depending on what ability score you want to pick. And Hellish Rebuke is like a counter. So you get hit, you do that. It's like nice fire damage. Starting stats, let's go when you want to respec Wyll. Strength at 10, Dexterity 16, Constitution 14, Intelligence 8, that's going to be our weak spot, Wisdom 10, and Charisma 16. Wyll might be the talker of your party. Now, remember, he's a noble, so he automatically gets Persuasion and History. We don't care about history, but Persuasion is very important. Now, go for Deception, Intimidation. Also, since Wyll's a human, you have 2 choices. Acrobats for more mobility or performance. So that's about it. And here's a demonstration of Wyll kick some serious butt. Now it's time to go ahead and level up Wyll. And yeah, you're going to be using a lot of Eldritch Blast with this setup for Wyll. So I'm just demonstrating real quick before we actually start the 2 to 12 leveling up procedure. There we go. So let's go ahead and start. For level 2, you want Arms of Hatter. This does decent damage. However, you can stop your foes from using reactions. Very nice level 1 spell, by the way. Eldritch Invocations, Agonizing Blast. This adds your charisma modifier to your Eldritch Blast. And let me tell you right now, that is very useful. For example, if you have 20 charisma, that's +4 on the charisma modifier, add +4 to your Eldritch Blast damage. Repelling Blast, this will push your foes far away, 3.5 meters or so. Really useful. Now for level 3, we're going to do the Misty Step spell. It's like a teleportation spell. Greatly useful to get away from certain people or such. Now for Pack Boon, Pack of the Chen, you summon a Quasit, Imp, or any other creatures that's not of this plane. They're actually good. Also, I do advise if Wyll is your main character, go ahead and try to look for a Shovel. That's in their Quasit. Extremely useful. Not sure you can have 2 of them on the battlefield, so that's great. Now, level 4, go for the Mage Hand level 0 spells. This way you can grab certain things or grab corpses and such. Scorching Ray for level 4 is a nice level 2 spell that does 2 to 12 times 3 for fire damage. So if you target one target, that's 6 to 36 on the damage side. Now, for the level 4 spells, level 4 feats, you get every 4 levels. Spell Sniper feat. So instead of rolling 20 for a critical hit, now it's dropped down to 19 to 20. Really nice. Also, pick the Ray of Frost level 0 spell when you pick the feat as well. Now, level 5, this is very important. You want the Fireball spell. Very powerful DPS spell. I abused it quite a bit at the Goblin camp. Eldritch Invocation, Fiendish Vigor. Now, in case you don't get a kill or such with your imp or so, another nice 7 hit points is good. This is just temporary, but it's always good. Now, level 6, the only thing I could definitely say is Counterspell. So if there's any magic coming towards Wyll or your other Warlock, who's your main character, yeah, pop that baby. So that's about it for 2 to 6. So let's talk about, you guessed it, 7 to 12. Now on the second half of leveling up. Level 7, you want Blight. This does good damage. Now maximum 64, that works only on plants. That's automatic 64 damage, which is good. Does not work on undead or constructs. Now for Eldritch Invocation, Books of Ancient Secrets, you get Chromatic Orb, and a few other spells as well, including Silence. Also Ray of Sixtence is nice as well. Level 8, you want Dimension Door for your level 4 spell, so you and someone else could teleport elsewhere. So for instance, you and Shadowheart want to get to the high ground to do some nuking. This is a spell to do so. Now every level 4 you get a feat launch, you're on the same class, or so. You want is ability improvement feat plus 2 charisma. We're going to build our charisma to 20 for Wyll. And of course, if you don't have anybody else as a talker in your party, Will's going to be the person. He's always going to be talking. Now level 9, you want Flame Strike. This is a very nice DPS small AoE level 5 spell, which is fire. And you guessed it, radiant damage. Now for Eldritch Invocation, Minions of Chaos. This will summon an elemental to help you in the battlefield. Now level 10, I give 2 choices this time. I usually pick Poison Spray, but if you need help on, of course, conversations, pop that Friendship spell. This will boost up your charisma modifier when you're talking to certain people in the game. Just watch out on higher difficulty because you may be accused of being a enchanter. Now, after the level 0 spells are done, we're going to talk about next is the level 5 spell you want to get is Cone of Cold. Frontal AoE damage, shoots out a nice cone, cold damage, very good. Now level 11 for Mystic Arcanum, Arcane Gate. This is a very powerful level 6 spell. You do is you teleport to 2 gates at the different locations. So this way, in case you want to get everybody escaping from one location to another. Hunger Hatter is a level 3 spell, however, this will blind your targets and other uses as well it has. Level 12, after we're done with level 11, I just mentioned. Yeah, we're going to do Hold Monster. Now, Hold Monster does is it holds a monster into place. If they're held, that means your melee characters could go ahead and do automatic critical hits. Very useful, especially also with Assassin type of build too, since they thrive on, of course, debuffs like crazy and they're always critical hits. Now, another thing is we're going to do Eldritch Invocations, which is Armor Shadows. Since Will's going to be wearing cloth at some point that has a charisma modifier in it, this will be good for him. It gives him mage armor for free. Now, ability improvements, again, every level's a 4. We're going to do is plus 2 charisma. At that time, you have 20 charisma. That's about it for leveling up Wyll. Let's talk about the last part for this section for Wyll. Wyll can be either 2 ways throughout the game, big time, either using his summons, until, of course, you get the, for instance, the Minions of Chaos to do some trolling DPS. Sometimes that trolling DPS will actually kill your foes. Happened a few times when I was abusing the Imp, especially all in Act 1. Now, if you get Shovel the Closet, you could try to do 2 summons, but I'm not sure if that works. Now, another thing is, Wyll's great, as you're going to see before you, doing some nice spell damage. See, I just cleared almost most of the room, and yeah, I really wrecked some melee foes. So let's go ahead and talk about things to definitely look out for, and here we go. Now, first of all, the Mirror Loss, go for a plus 2 charisma. This will give you a total of 22 charisma. You already have 20 when you level up. Now, if you're playing Wyll as a main, go for the anti-Ethel +1 item when she's asked to be spared first time you fight her. And the Mirror Loss +1 charisma bonus. That gives you total 24 charisma. And that modifier is very good. Look out for a certain cloth that gives you a nice bonus for charisma modifiers. Use my Warlock the Fiend build for gear, potions, and to have whole power advice. Wyll is a long-range DPS, so keep him away from the front lines. Obviously, he does great from far, from the melee action. Now, Act 1 you definitely want to use is the summons. That's very important. And especially those summons will carry you until you get Minions of Chaos. And then summon your Minions of Chaos Elemental, unless you run out of spell slots. And believe me, those Elementals are OP. And that's about it for Wyll. Next up is Shadowheart. Now, next up the bat, like I said before, Shadowheart. Now, she starts out as a Trickery Domain Cleric. I advise respec her to the Domain of Light. She'll be much more better that way. And anyways, when you respec her, pick the Domain of Light. Tons of good DPS spells. You get Fireball. That's right, at level 5. That's all I have to say. Starting stats is 10 Strength. That's what you want to do respec her into. 14 Dexterity for a little bit of course, AC and such. Constitution 16, a little bit more hit points. Intelligence is going to be 8. That's going to be a weak spot. Wisdom is 16. We'll get that to 20. Yeah, and sorry, Shadowheart cannot use the Mirror Loss. Used it one too many times. And Charisma 10. Now, skills, she's an Acolyte background, so that means she gets Insight and Religion for free. 2 Wisdom skills. Now, go for Medicine. That's the other Wisdom skill. And finally, Persuasion. You're forced to pick that. That's a Charisma skill, but that's fine. And remember, Divine Intervention is 1 use per campaign. Now, that's about it for Shadowheart for starting out. Let's go ahead and talk about leveling her up. So, here's the deal about Shadowheart. She's great starting out with Scorching Ray and Fireball. Eventually, you get Flame Strike, which is very powerful. Also, you get, of course, Improved Warding. That's a nice spell for reactions. So, for example, if your Paladin's about to get hit, she pops that. Your foes more likely will miss against them, which is good. And, of course, if you use her right, she can not only DPS, she can heal and summon great as well. Now, let's go ahead and talk about leveling her up. Now, level 2, since it's still level 1 spells, make sure you have Guiding Bolt with you because it's a nice Radiant DPS spell. Once you get to level 3, you automatically get the Scorching Ray spell from the Light Domain. This is a very powerful arcane spell that's low level, and it's great. 3 rays of fire, each does 2 to 12 damage. And each of them gets maximum. That's 36 damage on a foe. Great early on. Level 4, you still get some nice spells to select from. Also, pick the summon spell I didn't mention. I'm going to mention it now because Summon the Axe, as you see up top of the screen, is very powerful, of course, summon. Level 4, pick the spell Sniper Feet. So instead of rolling a 20 for critical hits, now you only have to roll a 19 to 20. Also go with Eldritch Blast. This does 1 to 10 force damage. Nice level 0 spell to have if you want to go for force damage. Level 5, you automatically get Fireball. Enough said, has a very OP spell. And let me tell you, if I would have brought Shadowheart as a Domain Cleric instead of Trickery Cleric, that Goblin, I think, Sanctum, it would have been cleared very quickly. Now, level 6, when we move on, you get Improved Warding reaction. So, for instance, for example, Lae'zel's attacking. She's about to get attacked. After when some foes turns up, well, Shadowheart pops this, and they will miss against Shadowheart. So let's now go on to level 7 to 12. Now my Light Domain Cleric has more information on the spells if you want to go further on that. Now at level 7, just pick any other spells you feel right. Just I'll always test it out because good news is you can switch spells in between out of combat. Remember that, everyone. I'm just saying. Now, level 8, go for the ability improvement plus 2 wisdom. With Shadowheart, we'll get to 20 wisdom. Unfortunately, we can't do anything with the Mirror Loss with Shadowheart. I'll explain more on that. Level 9, you get Flame Strike from the Light Domain, the better version. You get Flame Strike anyway as a Cleric. It does this fire and radiant damage and a small AoE effect. Very powerful, everyone. Now, level 10, I'm going to need to point this out. You get Divine Intervention. That does 3 things. It gives a party a full rest, summons a nice, I think, legendary weapon, which is a mace, one-handed, or it does radiant damage a lot. Just got to be careful on about 2 encounters in game when you're using that, because Shadowheart's hit points can be dropped heavily. Now at level 11, pick Planar Ally, a very OP summoning spell. Yeah, the Planar Ally does a lot of damage, especially the celestial ones. Now at level 12, besides going through your spells you want to pick and choose from for situations, well, guess what? Go for ability improvement feat. Once again, it gives you +2 wisdom. That'll get up to a total of 20 wisdom. That's about it for leveling up Shadowheart. You guessed it, from 2 to 12. Let's get to the next section for her. Now, as far as Shadowheart goes, this is things you definitely want to look out for. I'm going to go ahead and mention this right away. Story reasons she cannot use the Mirror of Loss. Yeah, that's right. Since she was a Shar, worshipper, yeah, even if you do keep her on the path of Shar, she cannot use it. Nope, nada. Now, use my Domain of Light Cleric build for gear, potions, and tadpole powers of ice. Shadowheart is not only a healer, she's also a ranged DPSer. Keep her far from the front. Use healing spells if need be. Use DPS spells if you feel good about it. If you have any crowd control spells, like for example, hold a person, yeah, abuse that as well. Use the weapon summons to help out your party at the start of the game until level 6. Then go for the Planar Ally. Yeah, that weapon summon, I should have used it earlier in the game. It's very OP. That's about it for Shadowheart. Next one we're going to go ahead and talk about is Astarion. I decided to do with Astarion is simple. I make him a multi-class character. I'm going to be putting at least 8 levels from the Ranger Gloom Stalker subclass and the Rogue Assassin 4 levels of that. He's very powerful. You have Sneak Attack and Dread Ambusher, which you put 2 and 2 together is very devastating. And if you do surprise attacks, you're basically one-shotting many foes. In other words, one round it. We'll get into weapons later on. I'm using a hand crossbow in each hand, so let's go ahead and talk about the character creation. Now, first of all, we're going to go ahead and talk about how we're going to level him up. We're going to respec him actually from the Rogue Arcane Trickster to, you guessed it, the full-blown Ranger class. We're going to start out with that actually for at least 5 levels. Then we'll do a switch and switch back again. Now, favorite enemies, I decided to do Bounty Hunter. So if any foes are ensnared, we get bonus against them. If we need ensnare foes, yeah, we'll definitely do it. Natural Explorer, I decided to do Urban Tracker, in other words, the city, so it'll be like our playground. Plus, we get Sleight of Hands. That's just a bonus gravy. Now, if you don't want to do that, then there's another one as well. You can also pick one of the resistance, like for example, Fire. Now, starting stats here as it follows: 10 Strength. Now, if you're playing him as an origin character, then be on the lookout for the Act 2 potion. I'll get that in greater detail once we get towards the end of that, section for this setup. Dexterity 16, that's very important because we're going to get that to 20. That's going to be our bread and butter, especially using ranged weapons, and in this case, hand crossbows. Constitution 16 for more hit points when we want more hit points with him. Intelligence 8, that's going to be our weak spot. Wisdom to 14, that's for our ranger spells in case we do need to cast them. Plus, it'll be nice, story stuff we get past with these. Charisma, last not least at 10, will be average on that end. Now, please note, Astarion is a charlatan. That's his background. He gets Deception and Sleight of Hands for free. So for the skills, go for Stealth, Nature, and Survival. Stealth, obviously, the choice, so you can sneak around. Very useful later on when you're an assassin. Nature, in case you get those nature checks in dialogue or out in the world. And Survival, in case you're looking for something that's buried. Yeah, great finding buried treasure. And that's about it for, definitely Astarion. So let's go ahead and level him up at this time. Let's go ahead and level up Astarion from, you guessed it, level 2 to 12. You're going to be bouncing around quite a bit, so look for the class name before leveling up. So at level 2, you still want to be a ranger. Here's the following spells you want to get. Ensnaring Strike. What happens is you snare foes from far distance, which is good. And Hunter's Marks, this way, if we mark a target, we have our allies, and of course Astarion does bonus damage. As for fighting styles, you want the archery fighting style. You get +2 bonus to attacks with that. Now we're going to move on to level 3. Now immediately we get a subclass for a ranger. Pick the Gloom Stalker. It has Dread Ambusher. In other words, is when you attack for the first round in combat, you do extra damage. Now it's very broken because if you keep on using a stack of arrows, yeah, those arrows will keep on going and going and going. Another thing is another level 1 spell you want to get is Hell of Thorns, which does some nice damage if you want to use that. Now, level 4 is Ranger. You get the Sharpshooter feat. Here's the deal. You won't be affected by high ground or low ground penalties at all, number 1. Number 2, you're going to have -5 attack rolls. We'll be able to fix it with a certain ring. And number 3, you get +10 bonus damage. With Astarion here with so many dexterity bonuses and such, that penalty will be no problem. Now we're going to go ahead and still do the Ranger at this point, level 5. We get extra attacks, so we get to do 2 attacks per round. Normally with Astarion pure rogue build, he won't be able to do it. This build, he can. And of course, you want Spike Growth for the level 2 spell. You drop it on the ground. Enemies are slowed down by half the moving distance. Enough for you to pincushion them. Now let's go ahead and level up at level 6. This is where we do the change, everyone. We're going to do Rogue. And we're going to pick that class. We get the following skills. Acrobatics. Then we're Expertise, Stealth, and Sleight of Hands. So let's go on to level 7. At level 7, pick the Rogue class. Now you get to do some actions twice, like for example, hide, dash, disengage, which is nice. Now level 8, we're doing the Rogue class still. We're going to pick the Assassin subclass. Now here's one of the abilities. You can now do critical hits if you hit a foe while in the surprise status. When that happens, critical hit automatically. Also, you get attack advantages if you attack certain foes before their turn. So in other words, the Assassin class is OP'd. Now we're at level 9. We're picking the Rogue, so every level 4 in that particular class you get a feat. Now ability improvement, we're going to do +2 dexterity. After that, we're done with the Rogue class. Now we're going to switch back to the Ranger class. Now for Ranger, we're doing Favorite Enemy, Mage Breaker, and we get True Strike, which is good. Now Natural Explorer, we get Beast Tamer, which is nice. Now next up, we're going to go ahead and talk about is level 11. So we're picking the Ranger again, Pass Without Trace. So this gives you a bonus on Stealth, which is good for everyone. It's a level 2 spell. So we're now doing level 12. Last time, change out your spells if you want to. And we're doing Ability Improvement +2 Dexterity. That's about it for Astarion's multi-class build for leveling up from 2 to 12. So next part is we're going to talk about is what to look out for and more. Here are the things you want to look out for Astarion, the Ranger Gloom Stalker, and Rogue Assassin. Now, Mirror Loss, go for +2 Dexterity. This will give you a total of 22 Dexterity, which is helpful with ranged weapons, especially with dual hand crossbows. If you're playing as a main, drink that +2 Strength Potion in Act 2. Really useful. Now, for now, just use my Ranger Gloom Stalker Archery build for gear, potions, and tadpole powers. Unless, of course, I have this build going and use that as well in the future. This was made before the build, by the way. Now, Astarion is an ambusher. This means you do not want him to tank. Instead, you want him to attack with opportunities, attack with sneak attacks, and more. Now, here's a good idea. Do surprise attacks. This will give him 1 round of extra damage combat. That's right, 1 round. Critical hits and all. Dread ambusher, you name it. Go for hand crossbows in each hand. If not, sell for a very nice longbow. Now, I'm going to go ahead and demonstrate that Astarion can tear tough foes apart in 1 round or so. Now with Astarion, we're going to go ahead and ambush this sucker. And of course the Steel Watcher says you're going to die. We have 13 initiative, so what we're going to do now is get some arrows. Arrow of Construct Slaying, so definitely use that with Dread Ambusher. See, look at that go. Look at that damage. See, look at that all fly. And we're already taking chunks of his hit points out, so we're doing max damage. Because it's surprise, most likely. Yeah, so if you use Astarion like this in the right situation, guess what? He'll destroy everything in sight. So let's see if I can try this one more time. Okay, normal one. That should definitely finish it off. Critical hit. We'll go ahead and do another critical hit, and that's it. See ya. In 1 round, we destroy a Steel Watcher. Normally, that's a melee class. With this build setup for Astarion, he tears it apart. So we're going to go ahead and talk about his alternative build for those of you who did not play on a higher difficulty, like for example, Balance and above. Now, for this alternative setup, I'm going to go ahead and say this now, everyone. This is real nice for those of you who does not like multi-classing, number 1, or you're on the Explorer difficulty where you cannot multi-class. I like the Thief one better to do 2 to 12 due to the fact there's so many tools in the tool chest. Now, the Assassin, that's great for multi-class, so you grab the first 4 levels, then you either go, I should say, Gloom Stalker 8 levels or 4 levels Gloom Stalker and then Fighter if you want to do any of those paths. So let's go ahead and character create Astarion. Now for Astarion, start off as the rogue class. That's very important. Yeah, that's right. Yeah, you don't have to respec him with that. Your arcane trickster with him, we'll get rid of that. Now for starting stats, you want him at 9 strength. Now there's ways to get that even if you want to go that far. Dexterity 16, we're going to focus that 100%. We'll get that to 20 because our range weapons. Constitution 14 for a little bit more hit points. Intelligence 8, that's our weak point. Wisdom to 14 for searching around, anything else wisdom based, and Charisma 14 for a little bit talking skill advantages. In case he does get caught. That's why I did that there. Now for skills, he's a charlatan. That's his background, so he gets deception and sleight of hands. So deception is a charisma skill and sleight of hands is a dex skill. Go for the following: stealth and acrobatics, those are dex skills. Insight, that's an intelligence skill, but that's alright. I believe it is. And persuasion, that's a charisma skill. So you have 2 out of 3 talking skills. Now expertise to get a much more advantages, and I should say, and a certain skill. Go for stealth and sleight of hands. So that's about it for character creation. Now we're going to go ahead and move on, you guessed it, to leveling up Astarion. So for Astarion, let's level him up with the Rogue Thief from 2 to 12. Level 2, you don't get much. Still, that's very nice. At level 3, you want to pick the Thief subclass. You get yourself more bonus, points to abuse and use. In other words, you can stealth twice, you can run twice, you name it. Now, another thing is at level 4, pick the Sharpshooter feat. Here how it goes. First of all, the high ground rules does not apply to Astarion no more. So if a foe's higher than them, you don't get a disadvantage against that target. Or you don't get a disadvantage against them when you shoot them, I should say. Now, another thing is you get -5 attack rolls. However, there's a ring that will negate that. Another thing is you get +10 damage. So if you're using, for example, dual crossbows, you'll love the damage when it connects. Or a longbow as well. Level 5, you automatically get free uncanny dodge. So you only take half damage from melee in case you're stuck in that situation, which is nice. Level 6, you don't get much, but still it's a good level. So now let's go and level up to 7 to 12. So let's go talk about level 7 now. Before we get this free feat for our rogue, here's the deal. For spells, AoE, and you have a choice with dexterity saving throws when you roll it. You either A, take the full damage if you fail your saving throw, or you take half if you succeed. Now with evasion, the rules change. You fail, you only take half. You succeed, you take no damage. 0, not a zilch. Now let's talk about level 8, ability improvement +2 dex. We're going to get that to 20 with Astarion. So you'll enjoy that. Now level 9, we don't get nothing like combat and such, but that's alright. Level 10, we get ourselves another feat since we're a rogue. We're going to go ahead and pick the lucky feat. So we get special dice rolls to do in case we don't like one roll, we do it again. Don't like a skill, re-roll it. Don't like an attack roll you hate, re-roll it. Don't like a saving throw go your way, re-roll it. I believe it's once per long rest, but it's very useful. Level 11, there's not much there, but still, level 11, if I remember correctly, your certain skills, you're not going to be able to roll 1 from now on, which you'll roll at least a 10, so that's always good. Level 12, ability improvement +2 dexterity. And that's about it, I should say, definitely for leveling up from 2 to 12. So let's talk about the last part of this alternative build for Astarion. Astarion's main role is to be an opportunist, aka sneaking, attacking, SOB. So you see right there, I'm going to go ahead and be very sneaky. Because of that, I just one-shot a fool. So make sure your foes are not, of course, focusing on you. Focus, like, for example, on your tanks, like your Paladin you see before you, and Halsin the Druid. So let's talk about things to look out for. Now, first of all, Mirror Loss, go for a +2 dexterity. This will give you total 22 dexterity. Really important. If you're a main, you're playing Astarion's main, I should say, go for a +2 strength. That will get you up there from 9 to 11. And again, get the off the Ethel sparing her in Act 1 and do +1 strength to even out much more. Or you could do Dex if you want to, but you want to even things out, this is the way to go. Use my Rogue Thief Archery build for gear potion, tadpole powers of ice, also thieving gear as well. Again, that's in the description. That's the first thing you'll see is that link to look it over for the builds. If you want a full and greater detail, of course. Astarion's an ambusher, of course, just like the Gloom Stalker assassin build. This means you don't want him to tank. Take advantage of sneak attacks. This means, for example, if you're not target, sneak attack away. If someone else is tanking a target, you sneak attack that target. Simple as that. And as I said before, your party members tank, you sneak attack. And last but not least, build a Thieves gear. Yeah, with this setup, Astarion is the real money maker. That's right, he brings in the gold. He steals. Learn how to steal in the game, so this way you make tons of gold. That's about it for Astarion. So our next character we're going to go ahead and go over is, you guessed it, Jaheira. Now, next up is Jaheira. Unlike the other characters I did talk about so far, she is not an origin character. You'll get her late Act 2, and you'll definitely keep her in Act 3 if you know what you're doing. So anyways, let's go ahead and talk about her setup as if we definitely respected her. So, Guidance is a must for a level 0 spell, so this way boosts up your ability scores on certain things. Disarm traps, you name it, it boosts those up. Starting stats as follow when you respect her: Strength at 10, Dexterity 16, Constitution 14. Yeah, Dexterity 16 for that armor class and such, and not Constitution 14 for hit points. Intelligence 8, that's your weak spot. Wisdom to 16, that's going to be our main stat. Yeah, we're going to get that to 20 for Jaheira. And Charisma to 10. Now, this is odd. She's a soldier, obviously from Baldur's Gate 1 and 2. Just play those games. She automatically gets Athletics and Intimidation. Go for Nature and Perception skills. Now, level 1 spells you want to lock in permanently in your spell book is the Ice Knife spell and all healing spells. And yeah, do consult my Circle of Land Druid build guide, so this way you get greater detail on all the spells. And yeah, you get to mix and choose your spells from 1 to 6, which is nice. Let's level up Jaheira, shall we? Now, please note for Jaheira, I just definitely went with, of course, picking the type of lands you get to pick when you level up. So let's start that now. First of all, for level 2, you want to pick the Circle of Land subclass. This is really important. This is Jaheira's default one, so yeah, this is good news for that. Now, next up is level 3. Pick Coast for Mirror Image, which gives you 3 images. Each image is 3 AC with a total of 9 AC. One image goes 5, so does 3 AC, but it's very powerful. Well, I should say more powerful defensive spell, but anyways, you get the point. And Misty Step is like a teleportation spell. Now, next up is level 4. Go for the Warcaster feat because you're going to be concentrating quite a bit and using concentration spells like Call Lightning, etc. Level 5, go for Call Lightning. This is one OP spell early on. You cast it, you nuke them. Next round, it's your turn. You get to do it again as long as your concentration's there. Warcaster is the reason why we picked that. Also, another thing, pick Mountain. This is for Lightning Bolt, so this way it's a throw and lightning damage. And Fly spells, this way you fly around. Now, level 6, I did not pick much there, but still good time to pick and choose your spells to experiment with. So let's go to the latter half of the levels. So here's the deal. Here's the latter half of the spells. Level 7, pick the Conjure Woodland Being when you have access to it. OP mid-game summon. This will summon a Dryad, and the Dryad will summon another creature, which is a Woodward. So that's like 2 summons at once. Now pick Arctic for Ice Storm, which is a very nice spell permanently in your book. And Conjure Minor Elemental for instance. You can use it to tank, help you to tank, or pick a certain elemental damage you want to do, like Fire, Lightning, Ice, and etc. Now, level 8, we're going to do Ability Improvement plus 2 Wisdom. That's very important. We're going to get that to 20 for Jaheira. Now, level 9, pick Swamp for Insect Swarm. Very OP AoE spell. Slows down enemies, and every round or so, yeah, enemies take damage. And also Cloud Kill. It's a poison cloud. Drops down to 4 to 40 damage. Every round, you go do concentration. After you kill someone with Cloud Kill, you get to cast it again if you need to. Level 10, good idea to select your level 5 spells. Now, level 11, pick Sunbeam. That's a level 6 spell. It's a really OP spell. Shoots out a beam of sun, affects undead greatly, blinds foes, powerful. You get to cast that again and again. Now, level 12, pick the Ability Improvement feat plus 2 Wisdom. You should have 20 Wisdom on Jaheira. Last but not least, pick the heal spell level 6. That's about it for leveling up Jaheira from, you guessed it, level 2 to 12. Let's talk about the next topic for Jaheira. Jaheira, you can either be sneaky like I am and attack foes ahead of time knowing that they'll attack you, or definitely attack your foes with certain spells that you could definitely cast over and over again. Now, I did use Ice Storm right away. We have a nice advantage against our enemies. So let's go ahead and talk about what to look out for Jaheira. First of all, the Mirror Loss. Go for a +2 Wisdom for the Mirror Loss. Very important on that. So this way you have total 22 Wisdom. Now, Jaheira will miss out on most of the Act 2 stuff and all the Act 1 bonuses. So yeah, she comes into play late Act 2. But I'm definitely pointing out Act 1 for this part of the guide. Use my Circle of the Land Druid build for gear, potions, and tadpole powers. The playlist is in the description. Just choose the Circle of the Land you're set. Jaheira is a healer and ranged DPS, so keep her far from the front. Use healing spells if need be. Use DP spells if you're good. Use summons for help. Yeah, that woodland creature, very nice to use mid-game. Use spells that you can cast and then cast again without using a spell slot, i.e., for example, Call Lightning. So, for instance, use Call Lightning to kill a foe, cast it again by doing so, as long as you have concentration. That's about it for Jaheira. Next up is Minsc. Our favorite ranger from Baldur's Gate 1 and 2 is back. However, he is drastically different thanks to the ranger class that's different from Dungeons & Dragons 2.0 to 3 to 5. Now, I decided to do Dread Ambusher with, you guessed it, ranged weapons, archery. I felt like that's the best way to go with Minsc since he could do some serious damage. So let's go ahead and do that now. Let's not do this one. Let's do that one. Yeah, Dread Ambush is first round. You can kill many foes as you can. You can wreck them greatly. And if you use it right, you can basically clear the entire room or so. And with this setup, with Minsc, by the way, I'm using hand crossbows. You don't have access to any of those. Longbows work as well. So let's talk about character creation for Minsc, aka let's respec him, of course. Since you get Minsc late game, here's the deal. You definitely want to respec him. So let's talk about that. Yeah, get him out of the Beastmaster. We'll talk about the Gloom Stalker as we level up. First of all, favorite enemy, pick Bounty Hunter. It's very nice to have. Besides, if any foes, for instance, are ensnared, you do bonus damage against said foes. Natural Explorer, pick Beast Tamer. That's good. Yeah, you get Find Familiar, which is nice to use another little creature get through things you cannot. That's too small for you. Here's your starting stats when you respec Minsc. This is drastically different than the Baldur's Gate 1 and 2 one, since he was strength based and good wisdom. However, due to the fact you cannot achieve those in this game. First of all, strength at 10. We'll keep it at that. If you want to still save your strength potion, go ahead and give it to him, but I advise heavily against that. Dexterity 16. That's going to be our main focus for the stats we're going to build up for him. Constitution 16 for more hit points. Intelligence to 8. Yeah, that's our weak spot. Wisdom to 14 for spellcasting ranger spells, and Charisma to 10. First of all, let's talk about his skills. He's a folk hero. That's his background. So he gets ammo handling and survival, which is good. Go for nature and perception if you can. Minsc is a human, so pick stealth. So make sure all those three right there are those for him. So let's go ahead and level up Minsc, shall we? Let's go ahead and now level up Minsc from 2 to 12, as we're respecting him, of course. Level 2, Ensnaring Strike, you want as your level 1 spell. Use this, ensnare your foes from a long distance. In this case, Hunter's Mark adds damage, of course, to your foes. So this way your other party members, you could get extra bonus against that target. It can be reapplied again. It also is a concentration spell. One more thing for level 2, pick the archery fighting style. That's very, very important. You'll be using a bow and arrow or dual hand crossbows. Now, let's talk about level 3. Pick the Gloom Stalker subclass. Then, after that, pick the Hail of Thorns level 1 spell. Now, Gloom Stalker, they get something called Dread Ambusher. So, first round attack, you click it, you do 1d8 extra damage. You can do a lot more attacks, too, if you know what you're really doing. Yeah, if you have a stack of arrows, yeah, you can attack more than once or twice. Just trust me on that. Now, level 4 is the Sharpshooter feat. Let me explain that. First of all, You do not have to follow the high ground rules. If you're like low ground, you have disadvantage against high ground targets. Number 1. That's out the window. Number 2, you have -5 on the attack rolls. There's a ring out there that will negate that instantly just like that. Also, your dexterity is high. It'll negate that too. However, here's the good news about this. Plus 10 damage. That's right. You add plus 10 to your damage. For example, you do a critical hit of, I say, 20. Add 10 to that. Now it's 30 damage. So that's about it for level 4. For level 5, pick the Spike Growth level 2 spell. So this way, you slow your targets down trying to come towards you. And here's level 6. First of all, favorite enemy, Mage Breaker. That's very nice. You get Arcana. And of course, you have a little slight advantage against mages, I believe. And for Natural Explorer, pick the Urban Tracker for sleight of hand. So this way you can start stealing his Minsc in case you don't want to as a Astarion. So let's go ahead and get to level 7 to 12. Now, before I do level up Minsc from, you guessed it, level 7 to 12, I need to demonstrate something that's very OP as heck. Yeah, it looks like I don't have any arrows of undead slaying, unfortunately. I surprise our foes, so because of that, we get extra attack thanks to Minsc. And of course, if we use Dread Ambush or the archery style, then I wreck our foes like crazy. Unfortunately, I forgot, of course, to not use fire arrows with the Mystic Charon. Yeah, remember that. That's a tip from me. But still, even with this little mess up, I'm doing a lot of damage to Mystic Charon. Already, we dropped them at half hit points with dual crossbows. Hand crossbows, Yeah, those hand crossbows can be OP as heck. So let's go ahead and finish them off. Then we'll resume the leveling. And there, Mystic Charon's almost dead. So let's level on up. Now for level 7, pick the Pass Without Trace level 2 spell. It's like plus 10 on stealth for everyone. Good way to also start the round too. So this way you get surprise attacks. Next up is level 8. Pick your ability improvement feat, which is plus 2 dexterity. We're going to get that to 20. Level 9, we're going to level up Minsc still as a ranger, Gloom Stalker. We're going to do his plant growth, so this will cut your movement by a quarter if you step in it. Now, Minsc will be, at this time, probably most likely immune to, I should say, difficult terrain like that. So he could just move around while everybody else who's not immune to it suffer, especially your foes. Level 10, pick your favorite enemy, Ranger Knight. It's a very good, of course, favorite enemy to go for. And then the other one is Natural Explorer. Pick Wasteland Wanderer Fire. Gives you nice fire resistance. You really want that. There are some Act 3 foes that love to spam fire. Next up, level 11, pick Conjure Barrage. So this does your weapon damage, AoE. Another thing is, if you also miss at level 11 with a certain feat, you get to shoot again or melee again. So as for level 12, we're going to go ahead and do is the ability improvement plus 2 dexterity. That's about it for leveling up Minsc from level 2 to 12 as a full-blown Ranger Gloom Stalker. Let's talk about the last topic for him, or second to last, actually. So here's the deal about Minsc on things to look out for as the Ranger Gloom Stalker. First of all, the Mirror Loss. Go for plus 2 dexterity. Here's the deal. You do this, and you're capped at, I should say, level 12, and you have 20 dexterity. It'll be up to now 22 dexterity. Means you do more damage with your ranged weapons since they go off by that. Minsc, unfortunately, will miss out on Act 1 and 2 bonuses you find along the way. Yeah, that's right. That's the disadvantage on that. Now, use my Ranger Gloom Stalker archery build video for gear, potions, and tadpole powers of ice. Yeah, this is the short version. It's just minus those. Minsc with this setup is one powerful ranged character. Seriously, he is. You seen what happened with the Mystic Charon, right? Yes, this means he can do some serious damage start of the battle. Here go dual hand crossbows. If you cannot, if Astarion hogs it, the longbow will do good as well. Use magic if you need to slow down your foes so you can ping them from a safe distance. Last but not least, do not be afraid to use Boo at all. Boo kicks some serious butt. That's about it for Minsc. I'm going to go ahead and talk about another alternative you could do real quick with him. And yeah, I'll demonstrate that with Astarion, of course. Not only Astarion's Gloom Stalker / Assassin build works for him, it also works for Minsc as well. Yep, you heard me right. You just have to pick which one gets the best armor and the best ranged weapons. So for example, if Astarion's using the hand crossbows, Minsc could use the longbows and some leather armor. yeah, still consult, of course, the, I should say, definitely my full-blown Gloom Stalker equipment. But still, with the Dread Ambusher plus the, I should say, the Definite Assassin Edge in combat against foes who's not their turns up yet, you get bonus damage. So already, good news is here that Astarion just cleared 2. If he could do it right, he could clear a few more. That's the same thing for Minsc. So if you have Astarion Minsc in your party as your Gloom Stalker assassins, the damage will be insane and the battle will be real over quickly before it actually begins. So those are my reasons definitely for that. Number 1, Dread Ambusher. Number 2, the Assassin's surprise attack bonus damage. Also the Assassin's turn bonus damage. And also you're using dual hand crossbows or a very good longbow. That's about it for, I should say, Minsc. So let's talk about Halsin next. Our next character is Halsin. He is a Circle of the Moon Druid. So Circle of the Moon subclass focuses more on wild shapes, like for example, animals, then up to, you guessed it, elementals. Yeah, this build will focus on the Tavern Brawl aspect of it. This is a one-time build. I should suggest for it because, yeah, I felt like it's a perfect 1 through 12 with him. Some people do 8 and 4, 4 levels, usually monk or fighter. I prefer just 1 through 12, so you have a option to cast spells before you wild shapes in certain encounters. So let's go ahead at this very moment go over the character creation about Halsin. Now let's go over Halsin, the Druid Circle of the Moon subclass. Character creation as if you respect him, of course. Always do that anyways. Now here's a few tough conditions you need to know. Halsin will not join the party if you side with the goblins, if you decide to keep him alive and then switch sides. Yeah, he'll bail on you along with a few other characters as well. Now if you kill him, you lose access to Halsin, of course. Another thing is, in Act 2, he will leave the party if you go back to Act 1 areas when you're attempting to break the Shadow Curse in Act 2. Yeah, in other words, you go back to Act 1 to get something on this quest, Halsin will bail on you for good. Now, another thing is, if you fail to break the Shadow Curse by the time Act 2 ends, he'll leave you behind. He'll bail on you. Now, good news is, Halsin joins the party in Act 2 at a certain point, which is the break the Shadow Curse after the portal thing. If you do it successful, he'll be in the party. Now, another thing is you want guidance. That is a must level 0 spell. Yeah, you're still in wild shape, but still, if you want to get out of wild shape in order to talk to some people, yeah, you still want to be the person who casts guidance. Here's the starting stats. If you decide to respec him, Strength 10, Dexterity 16, Constitution 15. We'll boost that up with 16 with Tavern Brawler. Intelligence 8, Wisdom 16. That's going to be our main stat is Wisdom, by the way. And Charisma 10. Now, skills, he's an Outlander background, so this is what he gets automatically. Athletics and Survival. Survival is a Wisdom skill that is very good, and will be average on Athletics, which is nice. Our Wild Shape should definitely boost it up some for Strength. Now, go for Nature, since you're a Druid, obviously, and Medicine, which is a Wisdom skill. Level 1 spells you want to lock in, just in case you want to cast out of Wild Shape, is Ice Knife and all healing spells. I'm not going to go over spells this much for Halsin unless I point out a few AoE ones only, really. I'm going to be blunt. You just only be casting magic just to soften your foes, go in wild shape, and kick some serious booty while you're in that wild shape. So let's go ahead and level up Halsin. Now we're going to go ahead and level up Halsin. Now please note, besides using spells before wild shaping to soften your foes, you can also use the spell slots when you're wild shape to heal. The more powerful the level is, the more you get healed. Just want to point that out. Now level 2, you get a bunch of good wild shapes to start with: Wolf, Bear, and Sarah, depending on what situation you want to do. Now level 3, I do suggest Moonbeam. That's a good spell to soften up foes. Small AoE, but it's nice. Now level 4, Tavern Brawler, we're going to get +1 Constitution. Make it 16 Constitution. This works in wild shapes, so some of the wild shapes that boost up your strength, you'll benefit well from that. Now level 5, this is very important. While you're in wild shape, you get an extra attack. Instead of 1 attack, you get 2. Also, you want Call Lightning level 3 spells, so this way you use it to soften up certain foes. Then you wild shape and kick some serious butt. Next up is level 6. You get quite a bit. Anyways, your attacks in wild shape is now magical, so yeah, in other words, it's not no longer mundane, and it'll pierce through immunities that are immune to normal attacks, like for example, mundane weapons. You get a Panther wild shape. This is for being sneaky. Use it as sneak attack, just like a rogue or so. Owlbear wild shape to tank and rage. Yeah, you can rage in owlbear form and do more damage. Now, owlbear gets a very powerful jump attack that does great damage if you're high enough. Enlarge the owlbear to even do more damage. It's like a bomb. Just trust me. There's a few videos out there on how to cheese some bosses in the game with just wild shape and enlarge. Look them up. And if you need any more help, I have my Circle of the Moon Druid build video for more information on spells and such. So let's keep on going for leveling up. Before I do level up, I'm going to go ahead and demonstrate right now the owlbear form you could use to jump. So it's the owlbears at a very high distance. And look at that. We made sure they have a lot of damage taken. Now, if the owlbear would have been a lot more bigger, yeah, I would definitely wreck many foes big time. And yeah, see where we killed 2. We got him on surprise. And yeah, we're a powerhouse. So let's jump again, then I'll level back on up. So let's go see if I can do this. Try and time it right. And voila, time to jump. And yeah, they're prone. They're all prone. Everybody else can kick their butts. So let's finish up the leveling up. So level 7 you want is Conjure Woodland Being. You're asking, Fenton, why do I want that? Well, before you go into wild shape, what this does is it's a powerful summon. What that summon does is it summons another creature. So you go in wild shape, not only you have one summon that can summon another, you'll kick some serious butt. It's like a little mini army, everyone. Ice Storm is a nice spell to use. So this way you can soften up your foes if you need to. Then you go in wild shape and kick some serious booty. That was it for level 7. So level 8, ability improvement plus 2 wisdom. All points into wisdom since you're a druid. Now level 9, there's 2 spells I'm going to go ahead and point out before you wild shape. Conjure Elemental, so if you don't want to use Woodland Being, you want to use a certain elemental, like for example fire or air, or say lightning in this game, then conjure that elemental, and that elemental do the proper damage. Now Insect Swarm, this is a nice AoE spell. It does a 4 to 40 damage per round, slow down your foes, and a perception check sucks. As long as they're stuck in. Clears out many foes. Now level 10 you get quite a bit. So that previous level was 9. So 10, here we go. You get the Dino wild shape that can spit corrosive acid that weakens AC on your foes. Very useful. You also get an extra attack while in wild shape. So for instance, now instead of 2 you do attacks, you do 3, which is really nice. You're able also to wild shape into an elemental. Now please note elemental use weapons, however you do elemental damage. So if you're fighting a certain boss that is weak to a certain elemental, wild shape into that. It does cost 2 slots though, I will point out. So that's it for level 10. Now level 11, you get the Sunbeam level 6 spell. Nice spell to use to soften up foes seriously before you go into wild shape. After that, that's level 12. That's ability improvement plus 2 wisdom. That's about it for leveling up. So let's talk about the next topic, is what to look out for. Here are things to look out for Halsin, Circle of the Moon Druid. So for Act 3 Mirror Loss, go for the plus 2 wisdom. That's very, very important. Now, if you want to give him a strength potion from Act 2, go ahead and do so if you want to. I prefer giving it to someone like Lae'zel, or if your main character is a melee fighter, that main character should have it. Now, I'll use my Circle of the Moon Druid build for gear, potion, and tadpole vice. Yeah, this will be way too long in video if I listed them all here. Halsin is a party member that could do jobs depending on what you need to do. You can use his owlbear, for example, to tank. Use elemental shape to harm certain foes that's weak to certain type of damage. So, for example, you're facing a fire foe. They're weak to ice. Yeah, you definitely want I believe the water shape. You can cast spells outside of wild shape to add summons, or use AoE magic to soften up your foes before you wild shape. I didn't list this though, but look for anything that adds to your shape-shifting, prowess, number count, or anything like that. There's a few items in the game that does that. My Circle of the Moon Druid build video has more detail on it. That's about it for Halsin, so let's talk about Minthara, the final party member. Last but not least, it's Minthara. She's a paladin, this time Oath of Vengeance. I'm using my main character Respect into the Oath of Vengeance. Oath of Vengeance have some very powerful spells and abilities that's more offensive, like for example Hunter's Mark to weaken your foes more, hold spell, and many other goodies as well too. So let's go ahead and do the character creation process as if I did Respect Minthara. So let's start on that. So here's the deal about Minthara. I'm doing a pure paladin build for her because her smites are at level 9. Some people would do as 8-4, which is level 4 levels are the fighter levels and 8 are the paladins. I prefer going pure with her this time. Now here's some notes you need to know about Minthara. You could get her if you side with the goblins in Act 1. When you do that, wiping out the Druid's Grove camp and the Tieflings, she'll be at the Moonrise Towers outside in Act 2. Now, please know if you decide to wipe out the Druids and Tieflings, some party members will not join you on your journey, which I believe is Karlach, Wyll, and Halsin, if he was still alive. Now, here's another method. You don't lose anybody if you can pull this off right. You could also side with the Druids. This is the only way to do it. If you can knock her out in combat without killing her, in other words, non-lethal attack, switch to that and knock her out. Or if she's down a few hit points, just crowd control her and punch her to not death, but just enough for her to get 0 hit points and she's knocked out. If you do it that way, she'll be outside Moonrise Towers in trouble. Now here's the starting stats for Minthara if you want to respect her, which I suggest the following stats. Strength 16, Dexterity 10, Constitution 14, a little bit more hit points. Strength is on one of my main stats. Intelligence to 8, Wisdom to 10, and Charisma to 16. Yeah, Charisma will be our secondary stat. For skills, she's a noble background, so she gets the following: history and persuasion. That means you want intimidation and athletics. Go for those 2 skills. That's about it for Minthara. Let's go ahead and talk about her leveling up process. So we're going to go ahead and level up Minthara. I'm going to demonstrate one more time some more abilities that you could use and abuse with her. And let me tell you, she's a very powerful character if you definitely use her right. Like, for example, know how to use your Divine Smite. So let's level her up. Now, first of all, she's an Oath of Vengeance Paladin. This means you find evil, you have to kill evil. No exceptions at all, everyone. That's correct. That means you have to go after evil. If not, you're Oathbreaker. Now, I'm going to go ahead and just briefly go over some of the abilities and such. Now, my Paladin Oath of Vengeance build goes into greater detail. So at level 2, you want to make sure you pick the Divine Smite and the other 3 smites that are there. Reason being is there's some good situations with smites. One that you could push enemies off the cliff with if you're having trouble with. You can use your regular Divine Smites. Later on, when you get to the level 2 and 3 spell slots, you could also spend level 2-3 spell slots on an improved version of Divine Smite, for instance. Anyways, level 2 also pick the Great Weapon Fighting Style. You're going to be using a 2-handed weapon for this. You heard me right, a 2-handed weapon. There's some good ones in the game. Now, level 3, you can frighten a foe in combat. If that happens, you have combat advantages and more against them. You also gain an ability that you gain attack rolls and advantages on foes. So it's good against tough bosses. Also, you gain the Bane spell. It's like Bless in reverse. You get debuff in attack rolls, ability scores, and other things. Hunter's Mark, this will give you a little bit extra damage, depending on what type of damage you're using against a certain foe. Now, that's about it for level 3. Now, level 4, you want the Great Weapon Master Feat. So here how this goes. Now, with Great Weapon Fighting Style, if you roll 1 or 2 in combat, you do a reroll. Now, with the feat itself, what happens is if you kill a foe or do a critical hit against them, what will happen exactly is this, everyone. You will be able to use a bonus action to attack again. It's a free attack. Another thing is the disadvantage. You get -5 in the attack rolls. There's ways to increase it. If you're desperate, there's a certain ring in Act 2 that'll negate that. However, you get +10 damage. So, for instance, you roll a critical, and it's 2d6 plus 3 for magical weapons. So you'll definitely roll 12 plus 3, which is 15, then add 10 to it for more damage as well. That's an example. Now let's talk about level 5. Now, just like the fighter and barbarian, and also rangers too, you gain an extra attack feat free. That means you do another attack, everyone. That's correct. Also, you gain one more different smite spell. I believe that's a good one. Just look that up. Also, you gain the hold person. So you hold a humanoid, and if that humanoid is hold, you get to do critical hits against them. And Misty Step. That's used to close in the foe in case they're running away from you. That's about it. Level 6, there's nothing much to mention. Nothing important for DPSing and such, but still use its abilities and more. Let's go on to level up the other levels. Level 7, you get the Oath of Vengeance ability exclusive, Relentless Avenger. So if you hit a foe with an opportunity attack, you gain 4.5 meters for that round or more. So in other words, you get to do another movement again closer to him, so this way you can actually kill him when it's your turn. Now, ability improvement on level 8, you want +2 strength. We'll get that to 18. Now, level 9, you get the final smite spell. And also, you get haste, which gives you extra attack, AC, movement speed. Also, dexterity saving rolls too. Downside is you get negatives from that, though, after 2 or 3 rounds. Good spell to use. Now, protection from energy, you get resistance in the fire, cold, acid, thunder, and etc. Now, level 10, there's nothing much there. It's more DPS. There's an Aurora. Just consult my build video for more information on that. Now, level 11, you get improved Divine Smite. So your smites does an extra 1 to 8 radiant damage, which is nice. Now, level 12, you get ability improvement again. That's +2 charisma. That'll get up to 18. Good idea to even those things out, but later on you have to make a choice. Anyways, that's it for leveling up Minthara. So let's go ahead and do the last section for her. Let's talk about things to look out for. So first of all, Mirror Loss. If you bring Minthara to it, make sure you go for +2 strength. That's the best choice you want. Now, for some reason, if you decide to give Minthara the +2 strength potion in Act 2, go for a +2 charisma. It'll even out to 20 apiece. Now, for those of you who want to get, like, for example, the Gauntlets of Hill Giant Strength, then also go for +2 charisma instead of strength. Now, use my Oath of Vengeance Paladin build for gear, potion, tadpole, powers, advice. It's in greater detail. Minthara is a frontline fighter. Use smites at the right time. Use your Oath abilities and more if you need be. So, for example, if you want to command a certain foe to be frightened, and if they are frightened, that's extra damage. Good idea to use haste if you need to, and hold person as well. That's about it for Minthara. I'm going to go ahead and give some final advice before I do end this guide. Here are some final advice before I do end this video guide. So first of all, make sure you know what equipment you definitely want for your characters. If they overlap, then go for the second or third best choice. So I'm going to give an example. For instance, there's Astarion Minsc. If you decide to give both of them the Gloom Stalker / Assassin type of build, you want to make sure you pick which ones uses the crossbows in each hands, and then the other one is or use a longbow. Just those examples I am definitely giving out. Another thing is know your party members' roles. Don't put Gale on the front line, for example. Another thing as well, I'm going to go ahead and say is know your abilities and spells, so this way you know what to use in combat. Always save your game when it's in trouble. When there's enemies there, don't go too crazy on your best abilities and spells against weaker foes. As for bosses, yeah, go full 9 against them. Another thing is with bosses as well, know the environment and many other things too. So for example, if there's like pits there, you want to avoid it, or AoE damage areas, you definitely want to avoid that. Definitely use my leveling up scheme. That's basic. It helps you out greatly on figuring out what you need to do and much, much more. Last but not least, have some serious fun in this game. It's a total blast. This is it from my Baldur's Gate 3 Perfect Party Member Setup video guide. This is Lord Fenton signing off. Thanks for watching and have a great day or night, and do please stay safe. Please subscribe to my channel for more classic and modern Dungeons and Dragons walkthroughs, builds, guides, and more just like this. If you like what you see, then go ahead and pick my suggestion on the upper left hand corner or YouTube suggestion on the bottom left hand corner. I'm going to go ahead and relax in this nice chair.